I want to ask you about Buffalo. You went to Buffalo. You saw the Bills and Dolphins. And to me, the Bills look as good as they ever have. What say you about this rivalry between the Bills and Dolphins? Because round one, 2023, went to the Bills decisively.
Oh man, that was it was honestly just a sight to see Josh Allen take over that game in the manner that he did. He had 4 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. Stephon Diggs had 3 touchdowns. They thought Ken Dorsey put together a great game plan. The Bills players after the game were just totally raving about what Ken Dorsey brings to the table as the offensive coordinator. And, you kind of get to see where they're complete in a way where Miami isn't, is their defense is really damn good in a way that should be a little scary for the rest of the division, because even after they lost Trey White for that game, they were still able to put the clamps on Miami's passing game. They still don't have Von Miller yet, who's going to come back at some point this year. And they still have guys who are developing like Greg Rousseau and Ed Oliver coming off of his big payday. So I think it was just, it was really just a shot across the bow, I think, for the Bills, saying we're better than the Dolphins. We're a more complete team. Mm-hmm. And I think the further we get removed from that week 1 game against the Jets, kind of say Josh Allen, he had a huge brain fart that day, brain farts that costed them the game. But since then, he's been just about the best quarterback in football.
Yeah, and I feel like when you watch that game, you could see Miami moving the ball, but it was kind of like a bend but don't break. And I hate that term. I really do. But Buffalo just wasn't giving them the opportunity to while they were moving the ball, to create points out of that regard. And they just simply found a way to keep them out of the end zone and then also just attack. So outside of the defense playing as well as they did, was there anything specific that other teams should be looking forward to? And it could be on defense, by the way. I mean, I said outside, but it could be defense. Is there something that other teams could say, Buffalo put us on to something with that?
I think the best thing that happened to the Bills in that game is probably Teron Armstead getting hurt, because then, the Dolphins, they're down 2 all-starting offensive linemen because their center Connor Williams missed the game as well. And I think one thing that game really did show is if we can collapse the pocket on Tua and kind of get him in these condensed spaces, he's not really a quarterback that makes plays in those scenarios. Like, it goes to show why he's a good quarterback, but he's not like on the level of a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, a healthy Joe Burrow, those guys. Because when things start to get tight and it gets tough for Tua, you see, he doesn't really have the arm strength to overcome these giant men crashing down on top of him. And he's not really going to be a guy that can go and scramble all the time and make plays down the field. He can get there every once in a while if it's wide open, but he's not a big creator. So I think if you're looking at that for another team's perspective, maybe the answer is let's just blow up the pocket on Tua and force him to kind of play big boy ball. Because I think when you get into a spot where they're playing from behind, a lot of the motion doesn't matter as much. A lot of the fakes they're doing with the ball don't matter as much, because, we're up 2 touchdowns. You guys are going to have to throw the ball. And if you're going to have to throw the ball and we can make you one-dimensional, and if we can survive just the Devon Etienne plays where he's going to run for 50 yards, we can kind of put the clamps on this if we can make Tua have to be a real quarterback for better or worse.
Now, I want you both to talk to me. Last thing, both talk to me about a tale of 2 cities. And the 2 cities are Baltimore and Cincinnati. You mentioned it, Charles. You said a healthy Joe Burrow, but we haven't seen that really all summer. And the Bengals, my Super Bowl pick, are now 1-3, and it doesn't look good. I mean, it's not like, they're 1-3, but they're so close. No, they're 1-3, and they deserve to be 1-3. They look like a bad team at times. And Baltimore, I was starting to get excited about them. They lose in overtime last week against the Colts. They should have won that game. They lose to the Colts. Then they come back and they beat down the Browns, because the Browns thought they're going to have Deshaun Watson. Watson's medically cleared to play but doesn't play, and now the Ravens are sitting there at 3-1. Rita says should be 4-0. So both of you, Charles, you first. Talk to me about Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. I think what's kind of interesting in Baltimore is they're suffering kind of the same affliction as last year, where you have all these guys getting hurt, once again, missing games. But it almost feels like last year you got to develop the guys that had to play because everyone was hurt last year, and now they're feeling it in a way that's you know, they, like you said, I think they should be 4-0 too. They beat the crap out of Cincinnati for the most part. They absolutely beat the brakes out of the Browns. I know Deshaun Watson was missing that game, but they just look like they're on a different level from the rest of the division. Lamar Jackson looks insanely in control of this new offense. He looks like he's back to playing on an MVP level. And I think when you just look at them compared to the rest of the division, especially Cincinnati, they're just more dynamic right now on both sides of the ball. We'll see what happens with Cincinnati once Joe Burrow gets healthy. But at the same time, if you keep playing him through this calf injury, I feel like you're only delaying how long it's going to take for him to get better. Remember at the start of the season, Jamar Chase, he let it slip. Hey, maybe we'll see Burrow around week 5. Well, maybe that's what they should have done based on watching them play. Yeah. One of the most telling stats for me as far as Burrow's health is concerned is the Bengals are in shotgun 94% of the time because Joe Burrow's calf, he can't get out of, you know, an under center drop or to run the ball or to do a play action fake. They just kind of got to snap it there and let him sit there. When you're that static, it's so easy for a defense to play. And that's why you see him, he's throwing the ball 3 yards down the field. And you just got to hope that Jamar Chase can make a play after the catch. It's not really a sustainable way to play football, but I guess that's how scared they are of their backup situation if this is the offense they're going to employ.
I mean, pretty much Charles said everything. The biggest difference, obviously, between the two teams is one has a quarterback that's healthy and one that does not. Because when you look on paper at the Cincinnati Bengals and you look at what they've done previous years, you say, okay, there's no reason why they can't still be contenders for the AFC. Now, I know that they started 0-2 last year. So when they started 0-2, it wasn't alarming, but what was alarming was the fact that we all knew Joe Burrow wasn't healthy, and that was the difference. And so what you see now is that Lamar, yes, it's him. It's him, and obviously, I mean, he has Mark Andrews and all of those types of things, and luckily Zay Flower has appeared to be who the Ravens thought that he would be, but it really is about the health of Lamar Jackson. He's able to be back there, and he can make the plays that essentially the guys behind him can. The Bengals, on the other hand, they can't really afford to bring in a backup. I think that they hired A.J. McCarron back, but ultimately they never had a good backup plan to begin with. But even if they did, guys, I just don't think that they would trust whoever would be back there. They believe that Joe Burrow is what makes this offense go, and it looks like that when you look at how they're playing. He doesn't look good, and as a result, the rest of his team doesn't look good, and that's the tale of the two cities. If they were healthy, I think that that game on week 2 would have been a great game. But ultimately, the health has been what's held us back. And I don't know if we will see Burrow healthy at all this year because he's not allowed to rest at this point because he has nobody behind.
All right. Good stuff, Charles. Rita, appreciate it. And we will catch up with you soon. Charles, where are you off to next? Where you're traveling?
I don't know. I think I'm going to give myself a little Sunday ticket weekend and stay at home and just watch as much football as I can. Because, you know, I love going out covering games. But I do miss my Sunday ticket where I can flip through whatever I want to see.
All right. Good stuff. Charles McDonald. Check him out at Yahoo, covering the NFL very well. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.